Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemekonye Kodori. Of all the factors of production, the four key factors of production: human capital, land, equipment and machinery, and capital, which is funding. The most important factor of production is the human capital. Basic economics teaches us that without these four factors in place, there will not be any effective production or productive activities. The human capital is the most important resource. Not just human capital, knowledgeable human capital. Population is an advantage. Even in the ancient days, before civilization visited Africa, our forefathers used to marry 3-4 wives. What is the essence of their marrying those 2-3-4 wives? They married them to be able to produce enough children to train those children into the art of farming, so that the larger the family, the more productive the family is, the more output will come out of that family. Economy of scale. But today, as nature has evolved, as human beings have evolved, civilization has set in, we've also come to understand that population does not amount to productivity. What amounts to productivity is the population of that, is the number of that population, or the percentage of that population that is skilled, that is knowledgeable, that is value added. In 1980, literacy level in China was 60, 61, 62%. As at 1980, China had over 769 million people out of a purported population of about 1 billion then, that were under the poverty threshold. China, as at 1980, had less GDP per capita than Nigeria. I said 1980. I did not say 1880. I am talking about 45 years ago. China embarked upon a revolutionary education transformation program that saw them within 25 years moved the literacy needle from 62% to 97, 98%. It was through knowledge, education, skills acquisition, vocational skills, and everything that China was able to, make their vast population to turn from liability into assets. Key capital factor of production that harness the other factors of production to make China what China is today. The biggest economy by PPP, GDP, purchasing power parity, $39 trillion. Today, China's GDP per capita has inched up from $800 in 1980 to $13,900, just because they chose one thing: education, knowledge, skills acquisition. In Nigeria, we have 220 million mostly illiterate, unskilled, lack of knowledge population. The good book, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Ignorance is a disease. Illiteracy is worse than Ebola and HIV and COVID wrapped together. Singapore understood it too. As of 1965, the number of literate people in Singapore was 57%. Today is 98%. Singapore has transmuted from a fourth world economy to a first world economy, competing and rubbing shoulders with the rest of the world. As of 1980, the Singaporean dollar was $1.69 to the US dollar. Today, the Singaporean dollar is $1.32 to the US $1. They've gained over time because they chose and pursued this deliberate policy and program of educating their people. In Nigeria today, we have over 20 million out of school kids. Go to Anambra to see what Peter did there. From 2006 to 2014, in Anambra ramped up, revamp of public education. Today, go and look at the excellence they are trying out from that place. Anambra has the least number of out of school kids, 5,000, which is not even acceptable. Nigeria, we cannot reinvent the wheel. The problems we have to see. Do you know there was a time in this country in the early 60s, in the 70s, as people are entering university from second year, so for more years, top companies, UAC, PZ, and the rest of them, Leventis, they used to go to universities to begin to tap kids who are bright. They begin to meet lecturers to tell them to find out their smartest students. From second year, they will begin to groom them. As they are finishing and graduating, they are employing them immediately. Schools used to go, universities used to go out of their way to secondary schools to go and poach smart kids so that they can become a pool of human capital for the corporate world. There was a time in this country when people, as they are coming out of school abroad, from Oxford, from Cambridge, as they are landing in Nigeria, they are being taken and put in as divisional directors, as this, in the public service. One of my uncles, Emel Obiri, came in from the US, from the UK, a top-class public servant, and walked into Imo State Civil Service. Excellent guy. That was why in the public sector, Mbakwe had excellent minds who could help him shape policies and who could help him execute policies. Mbakwe did not do what he achieved in isolation. Michael Okpara did not achieve what he achieved in isolation. Michael Okpara surrounded himself with the smartest of policy makers in the public sector and policy implementers. The same thing with Desmond Mbakwe. Desmond Mbakwe have one of the most robust and efficient civil service that he worked with. Excellent men and excellent women. Today, go and look at our public service. It has become a dumping ground for melon pillars. It has become a dumping ground for all manner of dump. With due respect to the few excellent guys still there. With due respect, I know of one of my colleagues in the Polytechnic who is now the head of service in Abia. Excellent guy. Best no J. Excellent guys. There are still some excellent guys in the public service, but they are minute, few. There used to be a time when the smartest of Nigerians worked in the public sector. Today, all what we have is nepotism, cronyism. Once somebody gets an appointment, he begins to employ everybody from his village, both dumb and daft and demented, and they populate the public service. Today, the most skillful and the smartest are no longer going anywhere into public service, no longer going anywhere into academics or even teaching or whatever. Because we have bastardized everything. Here now, mediocrity rules. Merit and excellence are no longer the order of the day. But it is not enough for us to keep on lamenting woes. What are the solutions? We must, as a matter of emergency, amend the constitution and other extant laws of the land to make it compulsory. All the funding, revenue, borrowing into this country we must invest compulsory 25% on education. In the education sector, we must raise massive trust funds to support the education sector. We must make it absolutely compulsory that every child born in Nigeria must receive primary and secondary school education free of charge, not kwashokod one, quality public education that some of us enjoyed in the 80s and the 90s. We must recruit the smartest of us into the classrooms. Any parent that gives back to a child that does not enroll him to private school will go to jail. We must fund it. When we begin to introduce knowledge and the skill acquisition, introduce vocational education and everything, if we're able within the next 12-15 years to build up the literacy level of Nigeria from the current level to 98%, I tell you, you look back and you begin to wonder when Nigeria turned to paradise. Education is the key. Quality education, not kwashokod education. Education based on merit, education based on knowledge, education based on character. Today, some of the most criminal election riggers are professors and VCs. Because most of them are not there on merit. The only one among them, one of the few among them, like Noti, has always been an excellent woman. Go to Futo and see her records. There are still very few excellent teachers, but there are very few. They are not even up to 1%. The rest are criminals. I'm sorry to use the word. Because most of the election riggers in Nigeria are teachers. Most of the election are professors. May God have mercy on us. See, it breaks my heart. It pains me. 220 million people that we can turn into massive assets, to harness all the other assets, to turn here into one of the top 5 economies in the whole world. But over 200 million of us are daft, dumb, and don't even know our left from our right. We are all mostly brainwashed with our ethno-religious awareness. Where would the help come? Oh God, help us. Today, the very same ones that want to contest to go into elect. If I become a governor, or when I become a governor, in my state, 30% of our revenue and borrowings will be on education sector. I will set up massive trust funds for education. Primary, secondary will be free education. I will attract the smartest of teachers. Minimum wage in my state will be 300,000 for teachers. Just like this, I will appeal to the conscience of Ndimo. We will set up massive education trust fund in every local government area. We will delineate and diversify and delineate and make education. In fact, we will work with the missions. What P2B did will be a child's play compared to the kind of educational revolution that we will do in Imo State. By the time I'm done 4 years or 8 years, you will look back at Imo State. It will become the heaven for knowledge and excellence. May God have mercy on us. Today, but if I come out now to contest, the people that will give me out will be teachers. The teachers that they know that when I become governor, they will benefit. Their minimum wage will become 300,000. They will still be the same people that will rig election from the polling booth to the ward centers, local government. It will be the VCs and state collection officers that will rig election against us. Shame! May God have mercy on us.